I'm Raj with Sickbay. Sickbay is software that lives inside the hospital and collects and delivers physiologic data at scale. My team goes out to our clients and users and understands how clinicians, researchers, and quality folks are making the most out of this novel data set. Today, I'm joined by my colleagues, Michonne and Megan, who are going to chat a little bit about an event that Megan helped out with. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Megan.
Hello.
All right, so tell us a little bit about one of the unique ways that Sickbay protects our hospitals.
Yes. So a little bit of backstory before I jump in to this case or use case. So I was bedside nursing for a few years, and all throughout my nursing career, you would hear, if you do it, chart it. And if you didn't chart it, it didn't happen. And that was, frankly, a reminder to chart everything, because the EMR is where all the information lives, and without it, you can't prove that you did something at the bedside, or you can't prove that you were caring for the patient in the way that you were supposed to. So one of my favorite use cases is the use of Sickbay to pull in full physiologic data, which shows a full picture of a patient's journey throughout the hospital stay. And this one specifically is the use of Sickbay to help mitigate legal risks for the hospital and the clinicians. So a client of ours had an event where a patient had died, and the family was interested in pursuing legal actions because they thought the nurse was not following proper procedures. So this patient was not a candidate for an arterial line, which is a way to have continuous blood pressure readings, and it's very easy to titrate medications when you see constant blood pressure readings. So this patient had a non-invasive blood pressure cuff that would need to be manually inflated or manually started every time they were to have medication titrations. So after the patient passed, the family was coming back to the hospital saying the nurse didn't do her job and wasn't giving proper care. This client looked into the EMR, they looked at the patient's chart, and they were not able to see the cuff pressures line up with the medication titrations. So this would show that care was outside of the hospital's policy. They weren't doing the procedures correctly. This is because unverified or unsaved data disappears after X amount of time from EMRs. All data needs to be verified by clinicians and then saved. So this was when they used Sickbay to look at the patient's full stay. They were able to see every single manual blood pressure reading, and they were able to line it up very easily with all the medication titrations for that patient. So this helped show that the nurse was doing her job and was staying within the hospital's policies and procedures to care for this patient. Again, this story hits really close home to me, because if you didn't chart it, it didn't happen. That's an untrue statement. Nurses do so much more than the snapshots of charting that you see in the EMR. So Sickbay is able to collect native information from an array of devices. We can really see what happened throughout the patient's stay. You can see when leads are off. You can see when SPO dips and when FiO2 is increased. You can see when ventilator alarms occurred and when peak inspiratory pressures are too high. So having physiological data to help support legal cases isn't a one-off occurrence. I've heard it from quite a few sites that I work with personally.
It's really all about, at the end of the day, caring for our caregivers. I know we all wake up with that, knowing that we're doing everything we can to support them in the hardest job, which is, right, making sure that our patients are safe and cared for. So tell me a little bit about how long it took to get this information. First, from EHR, it doesn't even exist anyway, right? It's not even in there, right? Like you said, the data isn't even stored, or it's dependent on somebody charting. But tell me a little bit about how long it takes to get that information from Sickbay.
Yes. So the EHR, they would have to look in all the flow sheets, look at that information. It was pretty manual. And then they had to look at the titrations. Very hard to match up that information. Sickbay, they really just went to one of our applications, Patient HX, picked the point in time they wanted to see, and then pulled in any signals that they wanted, and everything was time aligned. So they didn't have to flip back, look at one screen, flip to another screen, and try to do mental math to line things up. It's just one screen, you see all the information you need. Everything's time aligned and right there, easy to visualize.
That's great. And it's great that our hospital knew to go and look for this, right? A lot of times our clinicians know, but does quality know that they have a system right there that'll help them make sure that all of the interactions are compliant, and that they're recorded, and that they can use all of that information in order to support their own initiatives. So that's great, Megan. Thank you so much for sharing that. Raj?
You're welcome.
I'm really glad to hear that Sickbay can help figure out what happened, right? Especially with this large amount of passively collected data, to be able to go back and review on a second-by-second basis what occurred, right? To protect clinicians, to protect families. Thank you for sharing your story. If you out there are interested in learning more about Sickbay, or if you are a user of Sickbay and you'd like to come on and tell your story, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line. Until then, thank you, take care, and we'll see you next time.